Good afternoon. Attorney Paul Youngs here. I'd like to talk to you today for a minute about the Depp versus Heard trial, and in particular this ongoing cross-examination of Mrs. Heard. Um, in my belief that Ms. Vasquez has wasted an opportunity to get her points across by being overly confrontational, combative, and just acrimonious in her whole approach to the cross-examination. I think the euphemism that you catch more bees with honey than you do vinegar is appropriate to analyzing her cross-examination, because she's just overdoing it, and I don't know why she thinks it's effective. I think it's ineffective, and I'm going to go through a few examples. One, I just thought she was hyper pedantic in her frequent use of the phrase, "You were present when Mr. Jones testified. You were present when Miss Smith testified. You were present when so-and-so testified." And it was just awful after a while, because I think the jury rightfully would think, weren't we all present? I don't get it. What is the significance of nailing down someone being present? This is a trial. She's a party. We were all present. I felt like it was the movie Legally Blonde, where the judge goes, "I think we've established she was in the shower," and then Reese Witherspoon gets all embarrassed and kind of moves on. But it was just like that. It was like, okay, we were all here. Get to your point, counselor. And by the way, I'm sure Miss Vasquez is a fine attorney to get in the position to be doing this trial. I'm sure she has countless accomplishments and did very well in law school and everything else. But if I were sitting at her legal table, or if I got to get in her ear for a few minutes in between breaks, I would tell her to tone it down, man. What do you think you're doing by, picking this big fight with Mrs. Heard, Ms. Heard? Why do you think that's scoring points? This isn't about winning a fight between you and Miss Heard. It's about letting the jury know that you think and that they should think she's a liar, not winning this excruciating pissing match. Anyway, another example was her trying to nail down that she wanted to keep the TRO proceedings private, but in fact she tweeted about them. So if you're saying that you want to keep them private, then why would you tweet them? Okay, so that's good. She's got some fodder for cross-examination here. She's going to show how she is dishonest and sway the jury to her side of the case. Okay, I get that. But she trots out 2 or 3 pictures of Amber Heard's face with bruises on it in pursuit of this line of questioning. It's like, why did you take it there? What are you trying to do? Remind the jury that there's an allegation that Johnny Depp hit her? It's like, ask her if she tweeted about it, despite the fact that she claimed she wanted to keep it private, and then let it go. Hey, maybe Amber will deny it, but instead of trying to win the pissing match in the moment, you have to let it go and then argue it to the jury during closing. You saw her sit on the stand and deny that she tweeted about this, or she continued to insist that she wanted to keep this private, but the evidence shows that that's not the case at all. So you leave it for closing argument. You've got this great contradiction that you can use to your client's benefit, but instead she wants to win the pissing match in the moment. And it's like, what are you doing, man? You're blowing it. Whew. It was frustrating to watch. Similarly, she haggled with her about tweeting versus publishing. Publishing is a legal term. it's a legal and a layperson term, but the legal definition is just to send something out into the world, not to, write a book and have random clearinghouse publish it, Uh, so she said, you published this picture. And then she said, well, I retweeted it. Maybe it was an article. I don't know what they were talking about it, but they haggled about publishing versus tweeting for 5 or 6 questions. I'm sure the jury was like, oh, who cares, And I think you can lose the jury. And at some point they're like, okay, lady, I'm sure you've got some points to make, but I'm getting sick of listening to you because you belabor every little thing to the point where it loses its meaning. Similarly, they went on and on about the title of some article. Amber ended up saying, you can't change the article when you tweet something. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what they were talking about. I would be willing to bet that the jury has long forgotten what they were talking about, because that's what happens. The point gets lost in the haze of this argument that really isn't benefiting Johnny Depp. So there was a little debate about the reasons for L'Oreal no longer using Miss Heard in their advertising campaigns. And I don't really know why she chose to use this for cross-examination. Even if she did it in a more collegial or a more effective way, I don't know what exactly she would accomplish. But the point is that there is no L'Oreal executive that is testifying in this trial that I'm aware of. There's no memo where they reduce their exact reasons to no longer using Miss Heard. And they certainly, I suspect, would not say, well, hey, there's a lot of pushback from this op-ed she put out there, and, we like Johnny Depp, and we don't want to get on the wrong side of this A-list pissing match. But her question was, you don't have any direct evidence that that's why they no longer use you. Well, of course she doesn't, And then Amber didn't do herself any favors either. She, engaged in this kind of tit-for-tat thing and said, well, they couldn't use me because there was so much negative publicity. But she doesn't really know that. She's not, she doesn't sit at the board meetings for L'Oreal. What she could have just said was, well, I think the facts speak for themselves. The op-ed goes out, they drop me from their campaign, and let the jury assimilate that. That would be great. But no, she's pulling a Vasquez and like, well, no, this little tug of war over each and every little benign point that isn't important and isn't impressing the jury. So I think opportunities wasted on both sides there. She constantly uses the phrase, isn't that right? She caps every question with the phrase, isn't that right? And she says it like that. She's got that acrimonious tone. Isn't that right? You could say it in a friendly way, isn't that right? Or you could say right, or isn't it correct? Isn't it true? You don't have to be pissy about it in order to make your point. You're trying to discredit the witness, not prove that you're meaner and more dominant than the witness sitting in the chair. I think they really was a colossal whiff in that regard. It was accentuated when she accidentally said, "My apologies, Miss Heard," and she goes, "Oh, I meant Your Honor." It was so funny to me, like, oh, God forbid you apologize to Miss Heard, because that has no place in this cross-examination, because we've already decided, Wilbur, quiet, that this is going to be a fight and not anything collegial. Quiet, you. I'm talking. My dog, Wilbur. Come here, boy. Let's see. I thought there was an interesting thing where Miss Vasquez referenced a Carly Simon song, She was just trying to make a simple point. She goes, "It's like that Carly Simon song, isn't it?" I'm sure she was referring to the song "You're So Vain," meaning that Amber Heard was, in so many words, saying to Johnny Depp, "You probably think this song is about you. You know, you're an egomaniac." And I thought, oh, cool, Carly Simon. I love Carly Simon. The jury probably likes Carly Simon. They probably like it either, her much more than Miss Vasquez or Miss Heard in this colossal pissing match that they perpetuated for 2 days. Um, but she just threw it out there from left field and said, it's kind of like that Carly Simon song. And I was like, I perked up. I was like, oh, this might actually interest me. We could talk about "You're So Vain" and whether Carly was referring to Warren Beatty or Mick Jagger or whoever else. Or, it could have been interesting or at least fun. Relevant? Probably not. But fun, a chance to get the jury on your side because they think, oh, this young lady is hip and cool and she knows her classic rock. It's like, instead, it was a continued part of the stick throwing match. Like, oh, you think it's like that Carly Simon song, And so, so it was another wasted opportunity. So, those are my thoughts. If you have thoughts or think I'm, full of it, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Peace.